prayers of Boston Bruins fans have been answered, as not only did they erase a 4-game losing streak by beating the Buffalo Sabres the other night, but forward Georgii Merkulov has been recalled from the AHL. We'll talk about it all on a brand new episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Friday, December 29th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Boston Bruins part of your day, free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thank you for bearing with me yesterday, as it was a travel day for the McLaren family. YouTube viewers will notice that it's a different setup here today. I'm actually at my parents' house just outside of Ottawa to celebrate the holidays with them. Be watching Matt Poitras and Team Canada this afternoon, watching the Bruins taking on the New Jersey Devils and the Detroit Red Wings over the weekend. And I'll bring you all the latest here on the Boston Bruins, wherever I find myself. And we begin, well, first with a reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. You can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey thoughts at Ian C. McLaren. On Thursday, as I was driving to Ottawa, Twitter was running wild with reports that Georgii Merkulov was going to be recalled from the Providence Bruins and joining the big club. Didn't happen on Thursday, despite multiple reports that it was imminent. Here on Friday morning, per AHL transactions, and I was alerted to this by Mark Diver, who covers the Providence Bruins on Twitter. Merkulov has indeed been recalled, with Patrick Brown going the other way. Now, why has this move been made? Well, Merkulov certainly deserves it. He has been spectacular so far this season for the Providence Bruins, recording 14 goals, 16 assists for 30 points through 31 games. And this comes after he scored 24 goals and recorded 55 points in 67 games last season. Merkulov, of course, was a free agent signing out of Ohio State, and he led Providence with 24 goals, 31 assists last season, was named to the AHL All-Rookie team, and played a big part in Providence's first overall ranking in the Atlantic Division. A lot has been made of Boston's draft record, trading draft picks, but signing Merkulov as a free agent was a really good move by Don Sweeney and his team. And per Dauber prospects, they write Merkulov is a start to rebuilding the prospect pool. He promises to be a big offensive piece in the retooling of the NHL team as their longtime core starts to leave the team in the next few seasons. If Merkulov can continue to put up points when he jumps to the big club, he would also be a good fantasy option if he gets playing time with the remaining offensive talent in the Bruins' top lines. End quote. So his scouting report, he's an undrafted, slightly undersized Russian who excelled in his first season and only NCAA season, led the Ohio State Buckeyes in points with 20 goals, 34 points in 36 games. Look, whatever level he has played at, he has produced offensively, and the Bruins need a bit of a boost offensively. They need some depth, especially with Matt Poitras having gone off to play for Canada. They describe him, this is Dauber Prospects, describes him as a good skating center, sees the ice well, can create with his passing, willing to try high danger passes, and can finish when given the opportunity. He isn't weak defensively, which the Bruins value. Probably not suited for a checking role, though, and hopefully he's placed in the top 6 here upon being recalled. Jim Montgomery was asked about him the other day. He said the most promising thing they're hearing is how quickly he's closing in the D zone and how his 200-foot game has really upticked. Obviously, that's of huge importance to the Bruins, how well players can perform all over the ice. He's up there in scoring in the AHL, and that's only going to help the Bruins at this time. So Merkulov officially recalled. We'll see later on here this morning where he slots in to the lineup, but it's a good move for the Bruins, especially with Poitras playing for Team Canada. There's a bit of a hole. Patrick Brown, all due respect, not cutting it in terms of making an impact. Merkulov is a guy that we can get excited about and who could make an offensive impact for this team while not sacrificing anything on the defensive end either, or not much anyways. So that's the latest here for the Bruins. They'll begin practice later on this morning and preparing for a back-to-back this weekend against the New Jersey Devils and the Detroit Red Wings, games that we will preview here later on in the podcast. Merkulov could make his NHL debut as early as tomorrow night against the Devils. And again, we'll discuss that as well as the other night's win over the Buffalo Sabres and what that means for the team here as they look to get back on track as the podcast continues. Athletic Greens has everything you need to start your day right. They are a foundational nutrition company that delivers comprehensive nutrients to support whole body health. AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple drinkable habit. It's a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food sourced nutrients. AG1 is raising the standard for quality in the supplement category, and they help you build your health foundation first. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL network to check it out today. Again, AG1, a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers comprehensive nutrients to support whole body health. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine, free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, Locked On has recently launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, the Bruins heading into the holiday break were mired in a 4-game losing streak and had lost 5 of their past 6. And thankfully, there was not a losing streak that did not benefit from a trip to Buffalo. And the Bruins were able to shake off their recent slump in a big way with a win over the Sabres the other night. And it was significant in a couple of ways. First, they got major contributions from one player who had been fairly quiet offensively in recent games, that being Charlie Coyle. He scored a pair of goals in the 4-1 win and really was a catalyst in Boston shaking off this recent losing streak. Coyle had 2 goals, 2 power play goals on 2 shots, and skated in 17 minutes and 52 seconds to almost lead all forwards. Brad Marchand had 17:57. Pastrnak with 17:14. Pastrnak had 1 assist in that game. He's kind of slowed down a little bit, only had 3 shots, but still remains, of course, one of the best wingers in the league. He's got, 4 points over his last 4 games, 3 goals, and 1 assist. So not quite the 1.5 that he was averaging, but still sitting at 45 points through 33 games. So it was a big game for Charlie Coyle, especially. Morgan Geekie also scored, as did Mason Lohrei, who got things jumping early on with a goal to give the Bruins a 1-0 lead. He had 19 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time, 2 hits, 2 shots. He was a +1 if you're into that kind of thing. And proved that he should be still with the big club, even when everybody is healthy. Morgan Geekie scoring once again. And of note in this one, Pavel Zacha was playing on the wing. And I believe those line combinations remained intact for practice on Thursday, with Pavel Zacha shifting over to the wing to play with Geekie and Pastrnak. So Jim Montgomery shifting things up a little bit there, and it paid off as Geekie scored in this one, and Pavel Zacha played a strong game as well. He had 3 shots on goal, which was a tie for the team lead alongside Jake DeBrusk and David Pastrnak. Now, DeBrusk, I should add, also had a very strong game. Thankfully, he, has struggled offensively. No, not thankfully he struggled offensively, but you know what I mean. He has struggled offensively, and he was able to contribute here offensively in this one, racking up a couple of assists. Both, I believe, were on the power play, which is pretty big considering he hasn't had a ton of power play time this season, with James Van Riemsdyk getting the lion's share of the minutes on the top unit anyways. So Jake DeBrusk, with those 2 goals, he was able to greatly increase his point totals for the season, if you can believe it. He went from 11 points to 13 points, still only on track for 32 for the whole season, but hopefully getting his name on the score sheet will be able to spur him on here. He had the primary assist on Charlie Coyle's power play goals. So getting involved offensively, it was great to see both Coyle and Jake DeBrusk contributing here in this game. On the other side of the ice, it was a strong effort in net for the Boston Bruins once again, as Jeremy Swayman made 25 saves on 26 shots for a .962 save percentage in this one. Swayman very sharp. The Bruins 46 points now, 27-6, a 4-point lead over the Florida Panthers, with a couple big games coming up this weekend. But the most important thing for the time being, they erased that 4-game losing streak. They beat the Buffalo Sabres. The vibes are a bit better after that one. The vibes are even better now with Merkulov being recalled, and we'll get, a pretty exciting prospect in the lineup here. And the Bruins have made it official with a roster update recalling Georgii Merkulov, assigning Patrick Brown to the Providence Bruins. 2 games coming up this weekend, and we'll discuss those here as the podcast continues. Sleeper is the place you want to be for all daily fantasy hockey sports. We're at the halfway point of the season almost, and regardless of where your team is in the standings, you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether David Pastrnak or Charlie McAvoy will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for goals, assists, plus minus in a given game. To win 100 times, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8-player stats. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Quick programming note, since I am in Ottawa and Monday is New Year's Day, likely won't get a new podcast until Tuesday, January 2nd. But if anything big happens in the games over the weekend, I'll be sure to jump on YouTube for a quick short to discuss what has transpired. The Bruins have 2 games coming up this weekend against a couple of clubs that are looking to jump up in the standings and get back into playoff positions. That would be the Detroit Red Wings and the New Jersey Devils. The first game will be against the Devils. They're 18-13-2 outside of the playoff picture, as are the Detroit Red Wings. And here's what you need to know about both of these teams. They're very vulnerable in net at the moment. Vitek Vanacek has not played very well for the New Jersey Devils this season, nor has Akira Schmid, who was sent down to the AHL the other day in favor of Nico Dawes, who I'm a fan of because he played also for the Guelph Storm. So they are vulnerable in net, vulnerable defensively without Dougie Hamilton there, and they're allowing quite a few goals per game. I believe they are one of the worst teams, in fact, in terms of goals allowed per game, and that's true. 3.55, which is 4th worst in the NHL. The Detroit Red Wings, they've got issues in net as well. Ville Husso was their intended starter. He's injured. Alex Lyon, who we all know from the Panthers last season, stepped up and was playing very well. He's also injured. Right now, it's James Reimer, although they did have Michael Hutchinson. He was reassigned, so perhaps Lyon will be back in net for the game on New Year's Eve. They're allowing 3.4 goals per game, which is 8th worst in the NHL. So the Bruins, hopefully they got a boost from that win over the Sabres, kind of reminded what they're capable of. Their offense, they're only averaging 3.09 goals per game, which is 17th ranked in the NHL. So this Merkulov addition hopefully will give them a boost. Of course, they're very strong defensively, a 5th ranked goals allowed per game at 2.61. The penalty kill, still very strong, 86.5. All this to say, these are 2 fairly winnable games against the Red Wings and the Devils, but both teams, as the calendar turns, they're looking to prove that they are legit playoff teams. The Red Wings were right up there early on in the season. They have really slipped. They're 2-8 over their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. The Devils, 6-3-1. So they're trending in the other direction. They've won 2 in a row. Now, the Bruins will be playing back-to-backs on the weekend. should note that Detroit will be playing on Friday. So they'll have Saturday off before hosting the Bruins on Sunday. The Bruins playing the Devils on Saturday, and the Devils will be playing tonight against the Ottawa Senators. So the Bruins will be getting a rested Red Wings team, and they'll also be getting a Devils team coming off a back-to-back, not having played since Tuesday. So that's important to keep in mind as well. All right, I believe that is the latest. You are fully caught up here on all things black and gold. Thank you so much for taking some time to listen this morning. The big news is Merkulov recalled. We'll see later on where he fits into the lineup, but hopefully it's in a prime position to succeed as he has been. There's no point calling him up if you're just going to put him on the fourth line. Bring him up, put him in the top six, and let the man cook, see what happens. So we'll talk to you again here soon on Locked On Boston Bruins. Happy New Year if I don't jump on before then. And please do take care of yourselves and each other. And subscribe to Locked On Boston Bruins if you have not already. Each new episode automatically added to your feeds every day because we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day.